Hello, romance readers. If you're looking for your next read and feel inspired by some of the books we've covered on Too Stupid to Live, be sure to check out TSTL's very own storefront on bookshop.org. Here, you will find a collection of books that the show has covered, as well as personal recommendations from me, Becky Feldman, the host of TSTL, who is talking to you right now. So rest assured, you don't need to worry about remembering titles or author names or having to go back into the episode catalog. Just head to bookshop.org/shop/TSTL podcast to view a collection of the books that the show has covered. That's bookshop.org/shop/TSTL podcast. Happy reading.
This message is sponsored by Greenlight. With school out, summer is the perfect time to teach our kids real-world money skills they'll use forever. Greenlight is a debit card and the #1 family finance and safety app used by millions of families, helping kids learn how to save, invest, and spend wisely. Parents can send their kids money and track their spending and saving, while kids build money confidence and skills in fun ways. Start your risk-free Greenlight trial today at greenlight.com/Spotify. That's greenlight.com/Spotify.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to TSTL with a little extra spice, where the Too Stupid to Live podcast penetrates beyond the horny bookshelf and looks into everything and anything that I, your host, Becky Feldman, considers to be romance adjacent. Whether you are watching this on TSTL's Substack page or listening to this on your regular podcast platform, hello, I am so happy you're here. You are in for a treat. So today's topic feels like a role reversal, if you will. And I'm not talking about femdoms, but, maybe one day I will. But anyway, I just think that as the pop culture partakers that we are, we all see popular books being adapted for screen, obviously. And I think it's put this narrative in our heads, or like at least in my head, that like the trajectory of success for any sort of story or like writer's career starts at the book and ends on the screen. Like, I feel like that is almost like a hero's journey, if you will, when it comes to creators. But obviously, so much is changing in how we take in stories, especially romances. And I was thinking, like, what does it look like instead of going from book to screen, we went from screen to book? Now, I am not talking about novelizations of our favorite movies, but more like how TV and film writers and creatives are looking into publishing as a place where your storytelling dreams can come true. And I have a great guest today talking about her journey from screen to book. Noël Stark has spent over 2 decades in the entertainment industry, producing almost 200 hours of televised content. Her newest contemporary romance, Love, Camera, Action, is inspired by her experience in the entertainment industry, and it feels truly authentic to like what it's really like behind the scenes, without sacrificing anything steamy, of course. So please enjoy this discussion all about a writer's adaptation from screen to book. Oh my God, Noël, welcome to this podcast, Too Stupid to Live.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
I am so happy to have you. You're about to celebrate, I guess, is it a book birthday when your book is published for the first time?
You know what? I was literally just thinking about this. Like, is it the day that it comes out or is it the year after it's out? But I heard it used the other day and I think it's the day it comes out, but don't hold me to it.
Okay. Well, officially, everyone, allegedly, no, you have a book birthday coming out.
Yes, my debut novel, Love, Camera, Action, is coming out April 22nd, which is in 2 weeks. 2 weeks today, actually.
So how are you feeling? What's the vibe like?
Well, I'm obviously really excited. It's such a, like, publishing is such a long road that like traditional publishing anyway, it's such a long road because it takes so long to get up to your date. So I knew that this was going to be published, I don't know, a year and a half ago. And so it's all been very exciting, but it's been a long time of excitement. And so now that it's coming to the end, it's like, oh my God, it's actually happening. What?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's fun. It's cool.
Do you find it like slower than like working? Because you have like a TV entertainment background. Like, what were the differences, and did it feel slower? I guess is my question.
I mean, yeah, it felt a lot slower. I think decisions are made slower because they plan so far in advance. They plan like a year or 2 years in advance. Whereas in TV, it could happen today or it could happen in 10 years. So you have to have a different level of patience for each one, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So yeah, it felt long, but I think it's just the nature of traditional publishing.
Totally. Okay, well, let's rewind a bit to how you got into writing romance and just like your backstory. I guess you were born, and then what happened? Go for it.
I was a young girl in a small town in Ontario. Yeah. Okay. So romance. So I have a background in TV and film. But there was a time when I shouldn't say it was a time because I'm still in it, where I just started binging romance. Like I was binging romance books like all the time, reading one every 2 days. And I had no thoughts of writing a novel at all because I have huge respect for authors. And I was like, that's too hard. Like that's for super smart people. And, but then I kept reading these romance novels and I was like, oh, wait a second, like maybe I can write one of these, maybe. Totally naive. It was so hard. It took me so long and, like stealing time to write it. And, eventually I did, which was great. And it's getting published. But as I was writing it, I wanted to set it in a world that I knew.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to distract from the characters or the plot. Like I didn't want to spend the time world building. So I decided to set it in the TV industry, which is something I know very well because I've done pretty much every job you can imagine in TV, in scripted and reality. So I set it in that so that I didn't have to really worry about that.
Yeah.
And so that's how the book was born.
It's so funny just being in LA and kind of knowing that world. Just, I was so glad I was able to read it just because like, I was like, I know you could tell that you had been on set. And this isn't to say that like other authors who aren't in Hollywood don't get it, but there's just like a kind of like how busy it is, but how that you do nothing for a long time as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a lot. It's actually really boring at times and then very, very charged. It's like, oh my God, we got to go. And, I'd read a lot of Hollywood romances and I noticed that a lot of them were focused on the actors or the writers, which, kind of makes sense because actors are exciting and writers, other writers know. But I had never seen anything set in the crew situation or actually on set with the day-to-day. And so I thought, writing a romance where it was between the director and the director of photography would be a little bit fun because I had never seen that. It might exist, I don't know, but I haven't seen it. So I thought it would be kind of a fun little twist on the Hollywood romance.
Yeah. I mean, it's so funny. Like there were times where I was reading it and I was like, oh, that's what a director does. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. It's hard to know, right?
Yeah.
Like, what do they do?
Okay. Anyway, I'm looking for work, everyone. No, I'm kidding. Not really. But it was really nice to kind of like be in like a director's shoes and just like, cause I don't know, I guess for me, I always have very bit parts. And so I never see the director on a set. So I'm always like talking to a PA or something. And so I'm just like, oh no, it was nice to kind of like see what it's like from like a higher vantage point,
Right. So you're an actress? Are you an actress as well?
Yes, I am. Yeah.
That's cool. What kind of stuff do you do?
I basically pop up here and there on shows. Like I was just on St. Dennis Medical playing a weirdo. I was a weirdo on Abbott Elementary. I'm just like I'm a weirdo. I just pop up.
Right. Like you're the Kristen Shaw character.
What a dream that would be, except mine are just like one lines and they're like, get her out. She's too weird.
Yeah, but that's so cool. Those shows are great.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And honestly, like reading the book made me kind of like think a lot about like the crews and like how, the main character comes in as like a guest director and she's kind of coming into this world where everyone is kind of already family, and she's kind of like the guest in like a family's home. They're a well-oiled machine. She has that going against her, on top of gender, on top of experience, things like that. And so I guess I have to imagine that that comes from real experience, or
yeah, like, I mean, I've been a director on shows of various kinds. I mean, I wasn't put into a situation like Callie was put into. Like, what happens to her is that, you know, just a little bit of background is that directors on TV shows only direct 1 or 2 episodes because they're just brought in so that everything can move faster, and the crew stays the same, but the directors come and go. And Callie, though, is replacing a director that's been fired because he's said some unfortunate things about the Me Too movement. The producers have fired him because they were too much, and they had to find a woman to fill his spot, you know, for PR reasons. And so the thing about the business is that there's not a ton of gigging women because it's very hard for women to get roles as directors. So when you're looking for one, it's actually sometimes hard to find a woman. It's not that there aren't out there. It's that they don't get a lot of experience because they're not hired as often as men. So, you know, Callie gets hired because she's been working in the Bush League. So she has tons of experience, but it's in like very minor shows or, you know, cult movies that nobody's seen, but maybe someone thinks is hilarious or something. And this is her big break. This is her move, but she's landing on her first day on the set. Nobody knows who she is. People mistake her for PR. People like don't like tell her to get off the set. And she's like, no, I'm supposed to be here. And so she's launched right into it right at the beginning.
Right. And I think like what kind of struck me with like those beginning sequences is just even with the main love interest, Jory, who's like, he says something along the lines of like, well, for first time directors, you know, and I just, oh God, that just like, there were moments that just like made me cringe because you've been in that place before where people think you're dumber than you are.
Yeah. And it's this kind of way of speaking as though, you know, the other people think they're being kind to you, but they're just being really patronizing.
Yes.
And Callie, when she hears that, she's like, actually, you know, I've already directed 3 series and 2 films and, you know, all this other stuff. So, you know, back off. But he doesn't kind of pay attention to her because he's had so much experience. He's an A-list director of photography. He's considered a genius. He's, you know, he sets the tone for the show. He sets the look for the show. And so and the whole series is his, like he follows it all the way through. So he kind of feels like it's his show.
Right.
Not hers.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, you're guest in my home. I have ownership of it. But obviously there is an attraction. This is a wonderful romance novel. How did you come up with the character of Callie?
Oh, well, God, she's based on me.
Okay. Yeah. I guess I'm thinking about her journey of like, okay, learning to take care of like myself and putting my needs, you know what I mean?
All that stuff. No. Okay. No. So, you know, sort of characteristics and things on set that happened to her. Those are things that I drew from my direct experience, but she comes from a very difficult background where her mother had a lot of, mental issues, like that's not really talked about, but you know, like there's depression there's some drug use. And Callie basically had to look after her mother and her little sister as she was growing up. And it's one of the things that makes her a very good director. Like she takes charge, she knows what to do. She's very sensitive to other people's emotions. So she knows how to kind of make them feel better and safe in those situations. So her background really helps her as a director, but it doesn't quite help her as like a love partner because she's so used to being in control that it's very hard for her to give it up.
Right. Yeah. She even has that very funny line where she's like, I don't take direction well, which was very great.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm glad you noticed that one.
Oh my God. I loved it. So tell me about is it pronounced Jory? Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
Tell me about how he came about, how you molded him into the book boyfriend.
Well, okay, as a director, I've had many crushes on my DPs, like many crushes. Like the directors of photography, they tend to be a bit swoony in this quiet, strong kind of sense. Like they have to be very directed. They have to know exactly what they're doing, but they're artists.
Yeah.
They're dealing with a lot of different things. So they're generally very calm and they're very strong in what they do. And so, it's kind of hot. Like,
Yeah. Oh my God. I hear you. Yeah.
Yeah, no, totally. And so I was basing it on that, but I also wanted to show what it was like for a man to grow up in the business, to have a privileged background like Jory. Jory went to AFI. Jory came from money. So he never really had any bumps in the road. He maybe did a few independent films his first year out of school, but he started, getting paying gigs like right out of the bat. So he had a very different experience. And Callie did. Callie couldn't go to school. She had to learn on the ground. She had to learn from all her various jobs in the film industry and scrape money together to make her own films. So it was important for me to just show the juxtaposition of what that means to grow up in different places. And I think it's very hard for anybody in any kind of artistic pursuit, be it acting, writing, art, dance, any of those things, to come from a blue collar background.
Right.
Because it costs so much money to go to school. It costs so much money to do your art that you're not getting paid that much for. And so it's getting rarer and rarer that people are going into the arts who don't come from money.
Right.
And so I wanted Callie to be, one of those people, because we like to hear from people who don't have money. They're interested.
Absolutely. It's so interesting because, my thought of her character was like, oh, she had to grow up so early too, and it was like, okay, well, she was an adult by the time she was like 14. So of course she would know how to be an adult when she's like out of, trying to make a living.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that was one of the things of, because she's so young comparatively, being a director of these series, of this TV series, it's because she grew up so fast when she was younger.
Right. Yeah. There was something that you were talking about earlier about like her knowing how to make people feel safe. And I think that she uses that like as her superpower in her job. One of the opening scenes is she's directing a sex scene. And, there were a lot of like little like tidbits and kind of maneuvers that she did that kind of just like showed her prowess. And I guess I'm curious about like what it was like writing that.
Yeah, well, I wanted to make it like one of the reasons why she was asked is because she's done a lot of sex scenes. Like when I started out as a director, I had a number of different offers to put myself forward as a director for kind of like bluer or, sexier movies or shows, because not all directors wanted to touch them.
Right.
So, one of the reasons I wanted Callie to be brought on is because she knew how to do sex scenes. And this was a very important sex scene in the show. And so, sex scenes, I mean, I come from an acting background. I was an actress for a long time. I went to the neighborhood playhouse school for the theater, and I've done all sorts of different acting roles, and some of them were very racy. So I was on that side of it. And I just thought it was an interesting place to come into, because we don't talk about what it means to direct those scenes. Like they're very awkward. Like sex scenes are very awkward because it's choreography, as much as, maybe your fellow actor, you're still right in their face, and, you might be close to naked. They might be close to naked. And then you have to worry about where the camera is, and you have to worry about your lines. Like it's very choreographed. So I wanted to kind of launch into it because it's not only very titillating because it's a sex scene, but it's also very banal on the other side, because it's so specific how you have to direct them. So I thought that was a fun thing to kind of explore.
Yeah, I really liked it. Like I it's just enjoying like her role, like I as an intimacy coordinator. They didn't have an intimacy coordinator on that scene, and just like seeing her kind of like have a level of empathy for like both actors. Like that was another thing about her character was like the character of Paulo, like, he is someone that I would be like, get this guy away from me. But her character is just like, she kind of like looks behind his kind of veneer and like has a level of empathy that I'm like, oh, I really should be doing that more.
Oh, that's nice. What a sweet response. Poor Paolo. Paolo is a model. He's been cast in this role because he looks exactly like the part and he's beautiful, but he has no acting experience. And the producers don't really care that he doesn't have any acting experience because he hits well with the demographic, which is, key in a lot of TV shows. And he's scared. He's scared because he knows he's not very good. He knows he's costing everybody a bunch of money. And what does he do? He acts like a jerk. He's very arrogant. Like he says things that are inappropriate and he tries to swagger his way around. And, Callie looks at him and thinks, she kind of sees past the arrogance and sees the fear because it's kind of her job to get the best possible performance from him that she can get. And so she has to look at him in a different way that maybe other directors hadn't. Like maybe in the past directors had kind of dismissed him. And so she found a way to bring out the best in him, which is kind of the director's job. Yeah. And she, like, Callie really loves actors. Because they're like, actors are they're vulnerable, delicate things, even though they're loud and brash and they look like they're hilarious or like nothing can touch them. They're like scared little, like forest animals. Yeah. And they want to be loved. And like all of us, it's just their hearts are on their sleeves. So, Callie really understands this and tries to help Paolo through it. And, to mixed degrees, she does. Yeah. Yeah.
It seems like she was just going through this trajectory where she was kind of put in these positions of like, she's set up to fail, or like she is now in a position where like, there's nothing she can do, but she's taking the fall for it, and like that kind of stuff. Like, I guess for me, just as a reader and just like, there's like this little girl inside of me that's like, that's no fair. I don't like that,
Yeah. Yeah. It's not fair. It's not fair at all. Yeah. I mean, I've been in positions where I knew I was a dead man walking kind of thing. Like I was doing my best, but I knew everyone had turned against what my ideas were or what I was doing. And I knew there was nothing I could do about it. And you just have to keep going. And it's a very hard place to be. But, there's nothing you can really do. And so Callie, what's great about Callie is that she just keeps going and she keeps looking for those moments of grace that says, okay, yeah, I'm doing the right thing. I'm on the right track. And she does find those, but it's an uphill battle.
For sure. I guess I'm just like, I'm impressed with the attitudes of these characters because even with Jory, there was a level of like self-awareness that I wish all people would have.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like, yeah, we all hope. Jory isn't a bad guy. He's a very self-aware guy, but he's lived in this kind of masculine world for so long. He doesn't know another way to be until Callie comes in. And so then he fights the new way of being for a bit. And then he realizes that he's the problem. He's the problem between them. And he has enough humility to apologize and to say, I'll do better. And to try to change his own way of being. And so that was a hard character for me to write because it's hard to make someone look like an asshole and redeemable. Right. And it's a bit of a like push and pull. And I think, some reviewers are like, yeah, it's great. And some reviewers are like, oh, I hate that guy.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Like, I mean, honestly reading his character or, meeting him, I'm just like, oh, this guy. But then just like realizing like, oh, I was blatantly wrong, or like, oh, I didn't think of it this way. And then I'm like, well, that's like really sexy. Oh my God. Being self-aware. That's really sexy. Right?
Isn't that so sexy? If guys knew that. if guys knew, just like a tiny apology,
Right?
a little bit of self-awareness, like knowing why you're apologizing.
Exactly. It's like,
Yeah.
oh man, it's like not that hard. So the Me Too movement, now I'm going serious. The Me Too movement does kind of have this like backdrop in the book. And I'm just like curious about like, I'm curious about like it being a topic of like bringing it up in your book very transparently versus, I don't know, maybe not sugarcoating it, but just like not bringing it in, for the sake of the genre itself. What kind of like challenges did you face when like how much do you want to put in versus not?
Yeah, that's tricky because like at the bottom, this is a rom-com. Like it's supposed to be funny. It's supposed to be light. It's supposed to be just a joy to read. But I like a little bit of broccoli with my rom-coms. And I also didn't want to ignore the fact that it's hard being a female director. Like it's very hard. It's hard to be a female in any role on a set, including an actress. And so I didn't want to ignore that. But I didn't want to be like hitting people over the head with the Me Too stuff either. Like I wanted it to be stated, but I also just wanted Callie to be her own person and be working through her own issues as well as the greater issues on the set. And it's funny because when I started writing this, the Me Too movement was kind of winding down, and I was worried when it got picked up that maybe it wasn't relevant anymore, that maybe it was like I was just a bit behind the times. And then, like this last Christmas, that whole it ends with us scandal broke. And then, Anora, which is an amazing film, and those seem like amazing people, but they didn't have an intimacy coordinator on the set. And there's a lot of thoughts about that kind of thing. Like, the lead actress said it was no problem, but those were pretty explicit scenes for all those women. So I think it's kind of an evergreen story, sadly.
Yeah, absolutely.
How women are treated on set.
Yeah, because like I think that like right now we as a society take things the wrong way, and I feel like Me Too just made everyone scared. So they're like, let's just do this. I don't know, and then we're just like kind of in a panic scared kind of mode of like, oh, let's just make her direct it. Okay, sure, and
yeah. And that I tried to put that in the book too, that Jory was very scared that he was going to get called out for kissing her. Well, she kisses him. I don't know. That's a spoiler. They kiss. Shocking. It's the romance.
And can you believe it, you guys? Okay.
Yeah, totally. So he's very worried that she's going to report him to HR. They haven't done anything wrong, but there's kind of a level of fear on the set that they might be doing wrong. And he questions himself. He's like, oh my God, am I wrong? Am I a bad person? I don't think I'm a bad person, but God, am I? And that's part of that self-awareness where he's questioning his own behavior. So I wanted to make sure that was brought in because I think a lot of people on sets are worried now about their behavior. And I think they should be, but hopefully we'll get to a point where it just chills out a bit.
Totally. Yeah. Cause it's just like, I feel like everyone is just kind of towing the line a bit, of like what's appropriate, what isn't, am I too rigid? Am I too now inappropriate? I totally get that. But this is a workplace rom-com, and they do have, very like purely intimate things happen not on set in front of everyone, but there's like the sneak around kind of stuff. And it's so funny because it works so well in the book, but I'm like, if this happened in real life, I'd be like, my goodness.
Yeah. Like that's the thing. You kind of have to say, okay, like this is hot and sexy in a book. Like would it happen in real life? Probably not. Like you have to kind of suspend your disbelief a little bit for that. For sure.
Yeah. Because you need it. Because I think that like it kind of makes you think like our workplace romances in this day and age, like are we still allowed to do that? Do you know what I mean? Like are we going to get to that point? And the fact that we can still have them,
Yeah, I know. Like I was watching The Office again with my son because he hadn't watched the whole series and some of that stuff. And it like The Office is what, 10 years old, 15 years old?
I think it's like 20 years old.
Oh my God, is it actually 20 years old?
It is. Yeah.
Holy cow. Anyways, I was looking at it going, wow, they are treating Angela very inappropriately.
Yes.
Yes. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And this is the thing, as like me growing up in the business, there were things that were happening that you just kind of accepted, like sort of sexist things that you just kind of didn't even really notice because it was just the way of things. And then when the Me Too movement happened, all the younger people that had come up during that were pointing out things that were inappropriate. And I was like, oh my God, they're right. Like, that's not appropriate. Like, I would have let that skate by 10 years ago.
Totally.
But now you can't. I think things are better for that.
Sure. Oh yeah, absolutely.
But yeah. So the workplace romance is hard though, because, everybody's on eggshells.
Absolutely. And I mean, it's not even just like with this book in particular, like, I don't know, like just, I mean, of course our brains go there of just like, oh, it's like having sex in like the closet or like, on the cash register or something. I mean, it's all so heightened and fantastical and ridiculous. And it's like, you think about it in real life and you're like, oh my God, did I just like pay money to buy a coffee and like people could have had sex on this cash register?
I see where your mind goes.
Yeah.
I see that.
Yeah. But I mean, like, just, a lot of overthinking happening.
Yeah. I mean, and I thought it was kind of a fun fantasy of people, like a couple hooking up all over a set, because the different set pieces are really fun and fantastical. So they're hooking up in these places that put them in a different world. So they hook up in this one place that's a small bathroom, but Callie's kind of transported back to when she was clubbing and, in those small bathrooms, those black bathrooms that are in clubs with the black sinks. And she's just transported back to when she was younger, or like, they hook up on a CIA surveillance track, it's kind of, they're fun little fantasies when you think about them.
Absolutely. And I think it kind of like, I think that there are people who have the fantasy of like almost getting caught, or like getting intimate at a place that's like wildly inappropriate. Like there's something very like tittillating about it. And like, I certainly like felt that, of just like, oh my God, are they going to get away with it?
Yeah. It adds another level of danger. And if they were caught, they'd lose their jobs, right?
Right.
Like,
yeah. But they weren't. And you're like, this is so fun. This is amazing. I wish life were like this.
I'm so glad you thought so. That's awesome.
When you made the decision to write, was there like one genre or like one author in particular that was like, okay, I read this, now I'm going to do it? Like, who was your inspiration?
I read a lot of different romance. I read fantasy, sci-fi, historical, like all the permutations, like MMF, MMM, MMFF, like
all the M's and F's and
all the M's and F's, all the asexuals, all the demisexuals, all the things. But I think when I started writing that, the thing I really loved was The Hating Game. Like everybody, everybody loved that book. And I honestly think that's a perfect contemporary romance.
I agree. I completely agree. I literally just read it and watched it recently. And I'm like, this is to a T,
I actually won't watch the movie because I'm afraid it'll wreck the book for me.
Here's the thing. The book, I will say the book is better. I had to watch the movie for, I was doing a friend's podcast and we were doing a compare and contrast. And so it was like, I had to watch it. And I enjoyed it. And the book, the movie does stay true to the book. The book is better. I don't know. For me, the book is always better, but like, that's just my opinion.
Yeah. It's hard. It's hard to translate books to film for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one I think was my main contemporary when I thought, if I could reach that's my goal, to reach that structure.
Right. Were you ever like considering other genres like fantasy or historical or anything?
No, I wanted to do contemporary because I'm in the world building. I wanted to get my feet in something that wasn't as complicated. Like now that I'm, understand a bit more, I'm moving more in those directions.
Cool.
Because I feel like I can. So, I have a little bit more understanding of the form.
I think so. What was it like, like pitching the book and kind of trying to get it out to publishers?
So it was, the way that this went down is I wrote 2 drafts of it, and then I put it into a contest called Pitch Wars, which was this contest where if you got in, you got a mentor that would edit your book, and then they would get you like a kind of a festival where agents would come and look at it. So I was very pleased to get into that because it was hard. It was very competitive. And then it was the last one too. So it was like, I just got in under the wire. So I didn't get an agent from that, but because I was in Pitch Wars, it gave me a little bit more street cred.
Yeah.
And I was just talking to somebody on TikTok about this because someone on TikTok was saying like, how many times do you have to query agents? Because if you want to do traditional publishing, you need an agent. You can't go straight to publishers. So, this woman was saying, how many times do I have to query? And I said, people told me you have to query 70 or 80 people before you decide that your book is not right for this moment. And I think it took me 40-ish to find my agent. And then after that, it took another year for a publisher to buy it.
Right.
And it took a long time. And so I kind of took a step back and started working on another project because I was like, well, this is going to take a while. So it takes time. I mean, I think the indie route is very seductive because you can publish very quickly. Just for me, I didn't want to get into the marketing of it and the formatting. Like I was already maxed out with the writing and trying to find all these things that I couldn't then think of marketing and stuff. So, but indie publishing is just so different in that way.
Absolutely. When you were working with a mentor after Pitch Wars, like what were some things that you learned that like you take with you now?
Oh my gosh. So many things. I had this amazing mentor, Kelly Siskind, who has written a ton of romance novels herself. Like basic structure, grammar stuff that I was doing that I didn't even notice, backstory, like making backstory much richer. Like that is the one thing that I would say to anybody who's writing a book: get an editor, get a mentor, because they will help you so much. They'll deepen the book so much that you would never even realize that you needed. And so she really helped me out on that. And I hire her now because she was so great.
Yeah. Do you think that like your experience working in the entertainment industry like helped you with like the more collaborative kind of
oh my God. 100%. 100%. Like when I started in TV and I would get notes on my work, I was crushed. I was like, how could they give me notes? It's perfect as it is. And then, but you have to do the notes because it's your job. Like you're getting paid to do the notes. And it teaches you that there's nothing as sacred. It's got to work. If this person who's paying you doesn't like it, you have to change it. And so as a result, when I went into writing novels, the notes process is very, not easy for me, but I'm a little hardened to it. I'm like, okay, what's wrong? Okay, what should I do? And then you can say, like, I hear that note, but if I do that, it'll change this and change this. And is that what you want?
Yeah.
So 100% it helped. And it also, at one point, that agent that I got from the 40 queries, after a year, decided he didn't want to be an agent anymore. And I was suddenly without an agent. And all my writer friends were like, are you okay? You've lost your agent? I'm like, I've lost so many agents over the years. I'm sure
another one.
It'll be fine. And like 2 weeks later, someone from the same agency picked me up, thankfully. But yeah, working in the industry really makes it. You just take things a little less to heart.
Yeah. Because I imagine like you develop a thick skin, which I'm sure probably benefited you when you're writing your first book.
Yeah, for sure. And plus, working in TV, you have to write to commercial or you have to write to the act break. And so then in novels, you have to write to the end of the first act, or you have to write to the end of the chapter. You have to write to make sure that chapter is exciting enough that they want to like bowl over into the next chapter right away, So all that stuff really, really helped.
Describe to me like your writing process. I know with writers, and I could be getting this phrase wrong, there's writing by the seat of your pants, pantsing,
right,
and then plotting, plotters?
Plotters and pantsers.
Okay, tell me if you're a pantser or a plotter.
Yeah. So I started off as a pantser, and it takes a long time to pants. And you have to have a lot of faith in the process. So now I would say I'm kind of a plotting pantser, whereas I have to,
right.
I have to have a basic idea of where I'm going and then go, and just so that I'm not veering off all the time. So I force myself to plot. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I feel it's very uncomfortable for me. I'm like, I don't know how they'll be. Yeah. Let's just let the characters speak. Sometimes they don't. So you got to know where they're going. So yeah, I would say I'm a plotting pantser at this point.
I would imagine just because like, I don't know, in the entertainment industry, when you're supposed to give pitches and you're supposed to show an outline, like that is like, plotting versus plotting, meaning you outline it first, I'm assuming. And then like pantsing is you're just sitting at your thing and just, writing. So I imagine that like, maybe did you feel like you were like using the same kind of brain muscle when you were doing the little bit of plotting?
Hey, it's Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. Now, I was looking for fun ways to tell you that Mint's offer of unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month is back. So I thought it would be fun if we made $15 bills. But it turns out that's very illegal. So there goes my big idea for the commercial. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
Yeah. I mean, in TV, when you're pitching, you have to know 10,000% more than what you're actually pitching. So your pitch might only be 2 pages, but 100 pages worth of stuff. Whereas, in novels, you kind of have to put that 100 pages on the page.
Right. Yeah. You got to write it. Yeah.
So they're different muscles because you have to, they're like advertisements. You have to like really grab someone with the tone and what's happening and who's going to be in it right away. Because people hear pitches like every 15 minutes in some places. And if you don't grab them, then you're dead in the water in 2 seconds. And, that's another thing, in books, a lot of people read the first couple of pages, and if they're not into it, they're not into it. So you have to grab them right away.
What was your like kind of method of grabbing people's attention? Like what was the thing of like, okay, that'll get them?
Yeah, the sex scene.
The sex scene. That's what I figured. I knew the answer to that. Yeah.
That was very intentional. It's like I wanted her to direct the sex scene and to be coming in and saying, I have to direct the sex scene. And it's right on page 1. And the first line is sex is a tricky thing. Yeah. And it's because she's like, knows that she has to direct the sex scene, make it look sexy and fun, but still, make it work for the crew. But when you're reading it, you don't really quite know what she's talking about, she's just talking about sex. So that was very intentional to start off that way.
It was so interesting hearing her talk because like she did sound like kind of not like a sex therapist in a way, or like a Dr. Ruth, or like kind of like a sex expert in a way of like, oh, you have knowledge beyond just like filmmaking of it, like you have the knowledge of like the psychology behind it. You know what I mean? And and I imagine you had to use that when you were writing the actual sex scenes between our 2 main characters.
Yeah. I mean, like it's when you think about any kind of acting scene, you're thinking of the motivations and what the arc is of that. And you have to think of that in terms of a sex scene as well. Like what's the arc of the sex scene? So it's, you have to kind of pull the sex out of it in a way, and you have to think about what's the drama of it. The thing I love about erotica is that the character development is through the sex. Like that's what makes it erotica, is that the characters change because of the sex. And so that's a cool idea to me. I like that.
Absolutely. And I actually kind of saw that in this book where you see a different side to Jury when he's like very like, I mean, she even says you're a great dirty talker, and like you see kind of her like little like bratty side. Like you kind of like hint at it with their flirting, but then like once they get it on, it's like, oh, well, she's seeing a different side to him, and that's kind of making her grow in a way.
Yeah. And I think that's important to put into sex scenes. Like he sees something that he knows he needs to fulfill a certain role to get her to let go.
Right.
And it's very thoughtful. It's like a bit of a machination for him, but it's fun and it's sexy and all that stuff. And when she realizes that he's done this to help her let go, she's really touched, because she realizes, oh my gosh, this guy was really looking at me. Like he was really concerned about how I felt and what I was doing. And he kind of just shrugs it off, but she's really like, her heart kind of glows because of that.
Yeah. Like she feels, the valued and, for just being her, not because of like what she's doing for other people.
And I think that that's true in sex when you can be with someone who's really looking at you and really attentive, and you are attentive back. That's when it's really special.
Absolutely.
I think it's rarer than we read.
Exactly. That's why these books exist. It's like, this is what we want, And you know what's also very funny? Another thing that like I was like, this is really sexy, is when he has to get an endoscopy and she's like, I'll drive you. And I'm like, that's the sexiest thing in the world. And it's like, that's how I know I'm getting older. It's like, she drives you to the exam.
No, for sure. It's like, it's not just showing up for the booty call. It's like, I'll take you to your doctor's appointment.
Right.
Like that's so, And I think as women too, to have somebody help you just randomly is so sexy. It's unbelievable. It's like, oh my God, you want to help me?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Because you're always like, well, what's your end game? Do you want me to pay you, or do you want me to do something for you? And it's like, I don't understand the concept of someone just being a good person. That does not make sense.
Yeah, I know, right? And so when someone is a good person, you are kind of like giving them the side eye a bit, because you're like, what is your end game? But then when you realize, oh, they just are genuinely want to help you, it's a really lovely thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And just the fact of like how mundane it is, obviously going to an exam is not the least sexy thing in the world, but it's like something that like, I don't know, like now, seeing other people needing to rely on a partner to take them here, and just like how difficult it can be when you don't have that, and just like being like, oh wow, like that kind of like stepping up. Like I remember like I had to like get something done, and I was like had to like ask a bunch of people. I mean, eventually my brother took me, but like I just remember feeling like, oh, if I didn't have my brother, like what would I have done? What would I have done?
Yeah, exactly. And I think those kind of relationships we're losing more and more with our kind of isolated lives. And so to have someone there who's there for you is very special. And I think, on the return side, Callie has this moment because her sister comes down and to the set and creates all this trouble, and she has to talk to her outside in this kind of rainstorm, and Callie gets wet, and she comes in and has to direct a few more scenes, and Jory just shows up with a hot chocolate for her. Yeah. And I know, I thought it was so sweet. And she's in shock that someone would look at her, see that she was cold. She's like, what are you doing with this hot chocolate? And he's like, well, you looked cold and you were wet, so I thought you'd like a hot chocolate. And it's like 90 degrees outside, but he had to go to the catering place and get them to melt real chocolate into milk. And because they didn't have any mix, because who has hot chocolate in 90 degree heat? And he goes to this trouble, like all this trouble to give her a hot chocolate, and she's just slayed. She's slayed because of the thoughtfulness that he brings. And so it's those small things, they're important.
Absolutely. And like, because just like thinking about like, oh, the grand gestures isn't just like being in an airport and proclaiming your love, or it's like the rain, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, oh, it's just like those like tiny things that I'm like, this is way more romantic than like, I don't know, Titanic or something. You know?
I thought it was a great meme today. It was like where she's on the door, you know, and Jack is hanging off, and she's like, "Sorry, it's too much weight," and beside her all these books.
Yes, exactly.
She's saving her books before Jack. I'm like,
yeah. What are you reading right now? What kind of things are like getting you going in terms of books?
Yeah, you know, I'm going through this. Do you know who T. Kingfisher is?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm going through a big T. Kingfisher phase.
Okay.
She's I read her kids' books to my son when he was little. And then I realized she did adult books. And so there are all these she does fantasy romance. She also does horror. I haven't gone down her horror road because already the fantasy romance is scary enough for me. Mm-hmm. I'm a wimp. I'm a total wimp when it comes to scary stuff. Mm-hmm. So I'm reading that right now. Yeah. And I'm loving it. What are you reading right now?
Right now, I am reading the Alpha Shifter's Rejected Mate.
How are those? I'm so curious.
This one isn't. I'm reading it, you know, because I actually got it for my cousin as a joke, kind of as a joke, because the series itself was like, it's all about like middle-aged women, and just like we thought it was funny to read. So I'm like reading it now, and it's like that's the premise. But I do love like a good shifter. Like, you know, I feel like what was really good was the Ali Hazelwood book that came out last year. I thought was phenomenal.
I really love that book, and I was very angry it was over and there wasn't another one available.
Mm-hmm.
So it's coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's coming out this year. I thought that was really good. That was my first Ali Hazelwood that I'd read, and I thought it was really cool. Yeah.
I've only ever read her like rom-coms, so I was like ready for like a cute thing, and then I'm like, wait, why are there vampires? I mean, I could have looked at the cover and I didn't, but you know.
Yeah. No, I love shifters and vampires, and I love that fated mate thing.
Yeah.
And I was so curious about that rejected fated mate series, because I thought that was such a smart idea. Like, what do you do when your mate is rejected? Mm-hmm. And so I just haven't got to those yet. But I am like, it is very interesting, because I know they're going to get together in the end, obviously. And, you know, but then I'm just like, well, how are they going to make this work? They're literally going against the laws of nature. And then it's like, well, what if nature isn't what we think? And, you know, so it is just like kind of like, well, I got to get through this, you know, rush to the end. Yeah, totally. They had a similar thing in the Akatar series where there's, you know, that fated mate feeling, but some people had fated mates and they didn't like each other,
right? Which
sounded like Rysand's parents didn't like each other, and I thought that would be hellish. That would be the worst.
I know,
ever.
Yeah, and it's just like, well, like, because you want like. There's like something about like reading a fated mates where they want to be together, and it's like that's the one thing we hold on to. You know what I mean? As readers, like, these people are meant to be together, and to know.
I know.
It's like saying that like human beings inherently have three legs. Like it just goes against the laws of nature.
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of interesting to see that trend being put on its head a little bit.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I did think, you know, obviously from the first book to the second book, it's, you know, how they kind of like completely erase the love interest and do the second thing. And I thought that, I thought it was like very clever, and
Okay. Well, cool. I'll check them out for sure.
Oh yeah. You'll love them. Like they're just they're dense, but like, and I did have to like take a break, because I was like, you know, when you get into like a genre and you're just like, I'm going to read all romantic fantasy all the time. And then like you reach a stage where you're like, I just read like all of this romantic fantasy and I don't think I can read another one anymore. And I had reached that point.
Yeah. For me, last year was hockey romances. I was reading so many of them and I was loving them, but then I was just like, no more hockey.
So I am so not a sports person, but is the hockey thing partly due because you are from Canada? Is that like, is there like
I mean, I wonder because I do really feel some weird connection to it. There's a funny thing that I never actually grew up with hockey. My dad was a football person, and we weren't really a sports watching thing. My brother liked basketball, like my brother liked the Lakers. So we didn't really watch hockey. But then my dad found out when he was older that he was adopted, and he found his parents later, and his father was a famous hockey player, from the original six, like the original six hockey players, like from the 20s and the 30s and 40s.
Oh my God.
And his name is on the Stanley Cup. Like his team won the Stanley Cup. So there's this strange like connection to hockey. And so then I started looking at hockey more.
Yeah. It's in your DNA. It's in,
It's in my DNA. And so I don't know, maybe that's why I like hockey.
I love that.
Hockey MM romances. I don't read the hockey MF romances. I like the MM.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, there's something sexy about like a why choose when it's a whole team or teammates getting together. Because it's like you can play together, you can work together, you can be together.
Yeah. This why choose thing, I've just heard this phrase too, the why choose. I love it so much.
Yes.
It's so exciting. Like because you can explore so many different types of relationships. I love it.
Absolutely. And it's just like fun, like, I don't know, just like being in this kind of world where there's all these like weird rules, and it's just like, and it's okay. And like, oh, it's like everyone's in a why choose relationship. Like you're not like,
what's wrong?
I love it. Yeah, like why are you weird?
Sometimes in on TikToks, like I see some people saying, I hate love triangles. Like, just make a decision. And I'm like, why? Why do they need to make a decision? Yeah. Why can't they all just get together?
I know. It was like I was always like team both. Because remember how people were like team Jacob or team both. I'm team both.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah, and just like have one there when you need it, and then the other when you're like need something different.
And then
it's great.
When you're tired, they can go together. They can hang out and do stuff together. And
because clearly they're in love with. We all know they're in love with each other, and so
and so they should be. Yes,
absolutely. Like, oh God, like I like relationships that are like a little business or like little like
yeah,
like a nice little schedule.
That's funny.
So can you talk about what's next for you? What you're writing next or?
Yeah, a little bit. I'm starting writing the second book in the series for Love, Camera, Action, which is actually focused on Paolo and Talia. So this one is about the actors.
Yeah.
Which is a little bit of an opposites attract story because Talia is a very heady, methodical actress. She went to Yale. She, did theater. She's very serious about acting. And as we know, Paolo doesn't know acting at all. And he's kind of a dum-dum. Like he's sweet. He turns out to be sweet underneath everything. He's really sweet. He comes off looking like a jerk, but he begins to shed that. And so, but he's all heart. Right. So she's very brainy. He's all heart, and he loves brainy women. This is his flaw.
Yeah. His
really
fatal flaw. Yeah.
His fatal flaw is he likes smart women. What a terrible flaw. So it's about them together.
Nice.
And then I have another one cooking that's time travel.
Ooh, that's exciting.
That a bit. More hush hush, but that's what I'm trying. And God, time travel is very complicated.
There's a lot to keep track of. Are you going forward? Are you going back? Like,
right? Why? How does it work? I don't know. Yeah.
It's so interesting. Well, speaking of time travel, like and going to the past, what I loved is there are a lot of like Greek mythological names in this book, like Talia and Calliope and.
Look at you noticing something. So I when I started writing this, I wanted to base it on the Greek muses.
Okay.
So Callie is Calliope, which is the head Greek muse, who marries at one point William, and Jory is the Cornish version of William.
It all
I think
makes
I got that right.
sense. Yeah.
Sort of like, yeah, I think it's William. I have to go back. And her sister's named Cleo, even though her nickname is Patsy, who is another muse, and Talia is the muse of
comedy, right?
Comedy. Yeah. And Melanie, who's the producer, is based on Mel Pemeni, who is the muse of melancholy. So I had this idea of writing them as a series with the muses as inspiration. So that's why you're
awesome. I love that.
Take it. Here's a smarty. You are.
Oh my God. Paolo loves me.
Yeah. Smart women. Get the hot guys.
Listen, I actually like really liked it because it was like, I don't know, like I guess I have a mild interest in it, you know, like I'm like, oh, these stories are cool, you know, and I'm like, oh, I liked how it was like peppered in, you know, and like the psyche of, you know, bringing that kind of like metaphor in, you know, of like the seed by seed, you know, it was great.
Yeah, yeah. It kind of gives you a springboard, right? It gives you a framework of where to put a character together. And I also had this idea, you know, of muses. Muses generally are considered sort of like their existence is considered to be something for men. Like men have a muse. Like, give me my muse. And they, you know, they have wives and mistresses and they're their muse. Whereas trying to think of women and their relationship to the muse and what that means. So it kind of takes it out of the patriarchy a little bit. Like, how do women create? How do they engage in that inspirational, you know, oversoul?
Yeah. That's so cool. Oh my God. I love this connection.
I'm so impressed you found it.
I feel very smart right now, so thank you.
You should.
Well, this was so delightful to talk to you. I'm so excited for you. Remind us when Love Camera Action comes out, where we can find you, do the plug, the promo, all of it.
Okay. It is coming out April 22nd. There's a book launch in LA. Please come if you would like. It's in Culver City on the 21st. And you can get it, you know, you can get it at Barnes & Noble. You can get it at bookshop.org. You can get it at Amazon if you want to go to Amazon. But you should go to Barnes & Noble or Bookshop.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's an audiobook. There's an ebook. All the things.
Are you narrating the audiobook or who is?
Oh my gosh, I wish. No, there is a narrator and I'm just blanking on her name right now, but she's really great. She's fantastic.
Awesome.
I love her. Yeah.
Oh, great. Yeah. That is so great. Well, it was lovely talking to you. Thank you so much.
This has been a delight. Thank you so much. This is really great.
I hope you enjoyed your TSTL with a little extra spice today. You can find links to Love Camera Action on the show notes or on the episode page at tstlpodcast.com. Too Stupid to Live is part of the Culture Media Network. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you have a sexily self-aware rest of your day.
Want to live better? We've got a lot of work to do. Join Chris Hemsworth in National Geographic's new Disney Plus original series, Limitless. Live Better Now.
I'm diving headfirst into cutting-edge science to uncover 3 powerful secrets to living better right now. The growth that occurs through any challenging experience is really what we seek.
Chris Hemsworth stars in Limitless. Live Better Now. Now streaming on Disney Plus and Hulu.
It's showtime.
Hey, TSTL listeners, if you're a fan of the show and if you are like really rich to the point where you're able to throw in a little bit of financial support, there are numerous ways you can help TSTL continue to put out completely unhinged and hilarious and, let's face it, sexy romance novel content. First, you can become a paid subscriber on TSTL's Substack where you can listen or watch ad-free episodes. I'll also give you free access to my side project on Substack called Claim by TBD, which is a fictional podcast series about a romance podcaster who gets abducted by sexy aliens, but the experience itself is anything but horny. Just visit tstlpodcast.substack.com to subscribe. But if monthly subscriptions aren't really your thing, but you still happen to be like super duper really rich, you can also buy TSTL a happy ending at buymeacoffee.com/TSTLpodcast. Each happy ending costs $1, which all goes to support the show. For 3 happy endings, I'll give you a shout out on the podcast, along with a romance novel-inspired pet name. And for 5 happy endings, you'll get a shout out plus a TSTL bookmark in the mail as a thank you gift. Look, even just by listening to TSTL, you're making me feel all tingly and all special inside. But if you feel like your support can be a little more engorged, if you will, you can check out the different ways to support the show at tstlpodcast.com/support. That's tstlpodcast.com/support. Hey, TSTL listeners. Are you an indie author with a book to promote? An artist or designer trying to sell bookish swag? Are you a book talk influencer in need of more followers to do your influencing? Well, TSTL would love to help you out. Hi, I'm Becky. I'm the host of Too Stupid to Live, and I love building new connections with the bookish and sexual health communities, whether it's for sponsorships at amazingly reasonable and negotiable rates, or guest and topic ideas for TSTL's Extra Spice and Hot as Hell episodes. So if you want to hook up, visit tstlpodcast.com/contact, or you can email the show at tstlpod@gmail.com.